Hi everyone, welcome to my Gameweek 4 review, where we'll take a look at the performance of the team that I selected last game week and we'll review how they got on. Spoiler alert, the team scored 86 points, which is pretty impressive, and we'll see how it compares with the game week average later on. So let us delve into the team selection. 9 out of the 11 players which I selected returned, and this is equal to around 82%. So Haaland and Semenyo, who both scored 13 points this game week, were the top performers. Haaland scored a brace and could have scored even more had he not missed a big opportunity. Semenyo scored from the penalty spot, and he also bagged an assist, and his position as a penalty taker now even solidifies his position even more as an attractive midfield option. The only two players that blanked were Grealish and Bruno. Both of them scored 2 points this game week, although they had very differing performances. Jack Grealish actually performed very optimistically, as we'll review later on, whereas Bruno's performance was very lackluster against Manchester City. So this team comfortably beat the average of 63 points this game week, and we'll delve into the different matches to see how the players performed. So the first match was when Man City trounced Man United 3-0, and it was like watching men against boys. Big boy Haaland could have even had a hat-trick this week had he not missed an open goal, and he hit the post instead of scoring from the open goal. So you can see that Haaland actually has the most expected goals and assists of 2.03, and this is more than double the next player, Brian Mbeumo's 0.84 xGI. So I think Haaland is the top pick amongst the bunch, given that he receives a lot of big chances from his teammates, and the quality of Manchester City's attack is amongst the best of the league. On the other hand, Bruno's and Manchester United's performance was very poor and lackluster. They lacked a creative spark in midfield, and Bruno was confined to a deeper midfield role where he didn't really have a lot of opportunities to shine and to create chances. A lot of his chances that he created were just were half-hearted crosses into the box with very little outcome and expected goals and assists. So his stats for this game was actually pretty poor. So the next game was Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest, a similar scoreline of 3-0, and an all-around dominating performance from Arsenal. On the other hand, Forest, it looks a bit shaky, and Ange Postecoglou definitely has his work cut out for him managing this Forest team. So the top player in terms of expected goals and assists was Victor Gyökeres with 0.86. Although he's not being played in his preferred playing style, according to a lot of the critics, he's still getting used to the Arsenal shape and formation, and he does have some quality linking up with the other front three of Eze and Madueke. So speaking of Madueke, he actually was a bright spark along the right wing of Arsenal. He looked very dangerous, taking on his man, and scored the second highest expected goals and assists. Eze, on the other hand, struggled a bit on the other side, and although he did struggle, he does have the quality in him and ultimately came away with an assist. So the Arsenal defense also kept a clean sheet, with Timber being the standout among the fullbacks with the highest expected goals and assists. On the other hand, Forest looked like a pretty poor team, and Chris Wood came back only with 1 point after being subbed off after 59 minutes, and it sort of caps off the Forest performance where he hasn't been good enough, and he doesn't really fit into Ange's playing style, as I mentioned in my previous video, which could see his minutes being limited. So I would avoid Forest assets at the moment, and even consider selling your Forest assets, because they don't look particularly good both defensively and and going forward, and so they will need some time to adjust to the new playing style of the manager. The next match was also a 3-0 scoreline with Spurs crushing West Ham. So Spurs do have goals in them and the attacking threat. However, with their new signings, there's a potential of rotation risk. We did see Matty Tell start ahead of Richarlison this game, and so Richarlison owners not have would have not have any returns this this game week. The top player for Spurs was, in terms of expected goals and assists, was Mohamed Kudus with 0.58, who remains, I would say, the most attractive and nailed option among the Spurs attack. So given this rotation risk, I would suggest focusing on their defense, which also is very solid. Romero scoring 12 points, Van der Ven with 14, I think the highest defender this game week, as well as Vicario with 8 points from a clean sheet. I think Spurs under Thomas Frank look very well organized and well drilled, and I do see further clean sheets for them to come. It also should be noted that Pedro Porro actually was kept kind of at bay by the West Ham defense and didn't really offer much attacking threat going forward. The next match was another very interesting and exciting one, where Brentford and Chelsea were both at 2 apiece. So the game also showed that Joao Pedro is a bonus point magnet. Although he only had 1 assist, he still came away with 2 bonus points. So he had a total of 7 points and rewarding his owners, also solidifying his position as a top forward amongst managers. We did see some rotation in defense with Cucurella being rested and replaced by Hato. And Cole Palmer also made his return this game week, scoring after coming off the bench, which is pretty optimistic for his owners. In midfield, Caicedo also came away with a goal and 3 bonus points, scoring a total of 12 points this game week, and Enzo Fernandez had 2 points plus 2 bonus from defensive contributions. So Chelsea midfield also does have some potential in terms of both attacking and defensive returns, and I do think that Enzo and Caicedo are both attractive options, and it was just unlucky that Caicedo got the goal ahead of Enzo this weekend with a lower expected goals and assists. The next match was Bournemouth edging out Brighton 2-1. We did see double-digit returns for Bournemouth talisman Semenyo, who is now on penalty duties, making him an even more attractive option. So he scored from the penalty spot and also got away with an assist, scoring a total of 13 points, which is the same as Haaland. Ivan Nilsson, although he's off penalties now, he did manage to get an assist by winning the penalty, and so I do think he does have potential with the upcoming nice fixtures ahead of him. I do think that there's potential for him to score some attacking returns there. On the other hand, Brighton seem a bit sporadic under the manager Hurstler, and so I would say avoid Brighton assets at the moment, as they look pretty volatile and not very consistent at the moment. Next match was Liverpool also edging out Burnley 1-0, and it's the 4th time lucky for Liverpool and Salah owners, as Liverpool were awarded a 90th minute penalty and Salah scored a penalty, scoring 9 points and saving the managers who captained him this game week. Other than the Salah penalty, Liverpool looked pretty flat, to be honest, and didn't really offer much attacking threat going forward. It might be maybe because they are tired after the international break, but their performance this season hasn't been particularly impressive from a FPL attacking assets point of view, and so I would say Salah at this moment can't justify his $14.5 million price tag, and I would say Erling Haaland actually offers a better option in terms of more higher expected goals and assists based on the chances that he gets. The next match was a 0-0 draw between Everton and Aston Villa, and out of the 92 teams in English top flight football, Aston Villa are the only team who have yet to score, with Morgan Rogers and Watkins failing to impress again. I do think that Aston Villa suffered from a lack of signings this summer, as they failed to replace key personnel such as Marcus Rashford and Asensio, and Leon Bailey, who have all left the club. So they offer very little in terms of attacking width, and a lot of their attack is concentrated within the central areas, which makes it very easy for Everton to defend against. So Everton, on the other hand, offer good width with Grealish and Njai on the wing. I think Grealish particularly looks impressive from a winger point of view. He does have very dangerous crosses, although he does appear to lack confidence shooting at the moment. But he could have had a hat-trick of assists this game week if Michael Keane headed on target, and Martinez also made a few good saves that kept out Grealish and the Everton attack, which prevented him from getting any return. So I wouldn't be too concerned with Grealish performance at the moment, as I do think that he is continuing to create chances for the team. Next match was Newcastle beating Wolves 1-0, and I do think that the Newcastle attack looks promising, although finding the right formula will be key. So they have a couple of new signings and departures this season, with people such as Gordon and Elanga on the bench. There's also some risk of rotation, and the new signing Visa also hasn't played any minutes yet. The person who impressed me was Voltemade, who scored on his debut, as well as Jacob Murphy, who has the highest expected goals and assists of 1.1 this game week. And for me, Jacob Murphy is one of the most improved players over the past season, where he has really taken on and developed his role on the wing, and he had a couple of opportunities to score from outside the box, and even missed a few big chances, which could see him get more attacking returns later on this season. Crystal Palace drew 0-0 with Sunderland, and Palace defense does look solid, although their attack is suffering from a loss of key players, with both Sarr injured and Eze, who was transferred to Arsenal. And so we did see Mateta suffer a bit from a lack of service, and he blanked this game week. Although there's some potential from Yeremy Pino, the new signing with the highest expected goals and assists of 0.76. I don't know much about Pino, but I know that he is an football manager wonderkid, so we'll see what he offers, especially later on into the season. The last game was Fulham edging out Leeds 1-0 with a lucky own goal. And so this was Fulham's first clean sheet, and Anderson scored his first returns of the season in defense, and hopefully much more to come from him and the Fulham defense. So with that, we have recapped the performance of the Game Week 4, and I'll be releasing my video for Game Week 5 preview later on this week. So do like and subscribe in order to stay updated with the latest content, and see you later on this week for the Game Week 5 preview.